What's up, everybody? It's been about 4 years. Sorry I have this situation. This is the only, good microphone that I have. And I don't want you guys to have crackly, crispy, whatever this sounded like earlier. This is my second time filming. But anyway, hi, it's been a while. I'm back. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how I made my infamous exact copy of the Adidas heels that Harley wore in the first Suicide Squad movie. Thank God James Gunn came and saved this last one. Anyway, the shoes. I started these shoes back in 2016 out of foam, and it kind of just snowballed from there. Here we are making them completely from scratch, essentially. The only thing that I didn't make myself was the shoe bases, but everything else is completely patterned, sewn, cut, everything by me. It took about a year to get this to look as okay as it does, so yeah. Anyway, if any of you guys are still here after waiting for 4 years, hi, I'm alive, thank you for waiting, and yeah. The audio for the voiceovers will be different from this video just because I didn't know that I could use this mic on a MacBook. That's another reason why I haven't had videos, is because not only burnout, but also I don't have iMovie and now I do, so yeah. Anyway, get on with the video. Shoot, get out of here, go. Alright everybody, let's get this started. I am refilming this audio, so don't worry about what I said in the video that you just saw. I am redoing this audio because I can't deal with this. I want you guys to have crispy audio, crispy clear audio. Anyway, you're going to start cutting out all your pattern pieces. Everything should be labeled. You're going to start with these two main ones. You want your bases first, so if you're doing white, cut all your bases out in white. If you're doing black, cut all your bases out in black. That's what we're doing. I'm using this as a pattern. Let's fucking get it. Alright, now you're going to cut out your accents. For example, black ones get a red accent and white ones get a black accent. That's how it goes. Just cut it out. Do whatever you're going to do for your colorway, design, whatever. Do it. Alright, just a heads up, if any of these audio clips sound shitty, it's because I didn't want to refilm any of it because I just don't think I can reiterate what I was saying. Yay ADHD. So you'll get AirPods sometimes, and then you'll get good audio. So anyway, you're gonna have all these pieces. You're gonna have 4 of these main boys. You're gonna have 2 of these heel support pieces. You're gonna have 2 toes with the little darts. Those are important. I'm not gonna show you, unfortunately, but those are important. Then you're gonna have 4 tongues. These are all your bases. These are all gonna be your main color. Then you have your accents. These are going to be your L shapes, right? Yes, good. You're going to have 4 of those bad boys. Then you got these little extra back trim bits. Those are going to be like your little V dudes. And then these are going to be your swoopies. You're going to have 4 of these. Normally you would want to hole punch them, but I did not have my hole punch at the time. And finally, you have your L trims. Huzzah! You're going to have 4 of those too. Here's where shit gets real, guys. Alright, you're going to take one of your swoopy dudes and one of your little L shapes, and you're going to match it up just like this. You're going to take the top of the swoopy dude and you're going to line it up with about, I want to say half an inch from where the L shape begins. You're just gonna clip it right there. Just clip it right there. Don't clip it anywhere else, because the machine will do the work for you. I promise. Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready to give in. Alright, now you're going to go over to your machine. You're going to select that number 2 stitch, right? So it's going to be more to the left. I don't know if that is a universal thing for every single machine, just on my machine, and I have a Singer 9960, alright? You're going to use a walking foot also. If you notice these little strings, it's because I forgot to film this and I had to take it apart and redo it. So anyway, don't mind that. You're essentially just going to straight stitch the entire way, and once you get to like where the curve is, you're going to start pulling the swoopy dude towards the right. Just keeping those edges even. If that makes any sense whatsoever. You'll see it in the video. Alright, now that you've got all of your swoopy dudes sewn together, you're going to take your base, and you're going to take the top part that is going to wrap around your calf, and you're going to line these puppies up. It does not have to be perfect. Keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just line it up to wherever you feel is correct. You are going to clip the outside, and then you're going to pin your little swoopy guy. You don't have to pin the swoopy guy. I do it if it's necessary. If they're kind of just flapping around like this one is, it's going to get pinned. So, just depends on how comfortable you are with your sewing machine, and it just do whatever makes you feel comfortable, okay? That's the whole point of this, alright? Do it. Alrighty, so this is what it should look like once you get everything pinned down and ready to go. You're just gonna repeat this for the rest of the shoes. Yeah. And we're just gonna top stitch that shit down, man. Just go, 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 go. Alrighty, and here's a different angle just in case you guys need a little bit more visual representation. So you're essentially just going to do that same second top stitch, and you're just going to top stitch it down. Be careful when you get to that little loop. It can be a little bit of a butt. So just take your time. You don't want to break any needles or anything like that.
Tonight, bets are off. I'm gonna find my way tonight. Wait tonight. Won't you talk to me? We'll make a new tomorrow. Talk to me. One night to find the answer. Talk to me. What makes this heart beat faster?
Alright, now that you got everything top stitched down, this is a super important, but not really, but also it is, little detail. So you're gonna go entirely back around just the swoopy little area. What? Area? My god. It's 2 a.m. And you're gonna add a second stitch. This is just going to give some extra detail, dimension. If you look at a picture of the actual Adidas heels, they have this second stitch, and I'm a sucker for details, so I kind of had to do it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. This is literally, I'm not forcing you to. You do what you want. You're your own person. You get this. You got this. Alright, take it away, Helia from the past, with the rest of this video.
Okay, hopefully I can re-explain this. Because I filmed this one, and then my phone said I was out of storage. Ha! Anyway, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting on the stripes. So, when you're doing the stripes, you're gonna need 3 on each side, so 3 little stripey boys. In total, you should have 12 of these. 6 for you. So, you could go ahead and like sew them all together with the trim, but I find it easier to sew it without the trim. So what you want to do is you want to just kind of lay them out, and then you want to put the trim on like so. You might have a little bit of excess up here just because, yeah. So, just kind of go around, and then if you have to kind of gauge where the stretch will be, just kind of pretend that part like this, so it's not really opposite. Alright, so, you can look at reference photos or issues to kind of gauge where you Okay, so now that you have those on, you're gonna get 3 clips. You can use pins. I personally don't like using pins for this specific part of the shoe because the foot gets stuck on it sometimes and it leaves little indentions. So I just like using little clips. You can get I think like 50 of them on Amazon for like $5. So yeah. Once you get them all even out with the trim, gently remove the trim. Remove the velvet left and right. Hold one like this. Slide your clip underneath the black and slide it over the black. Until a little bit. Just like that. And now you want to sew each of them. Continue this until you got all of your pieces done. I like to go ahead and just sew all of the stripes on, and then I do the trim next. So.
I'm always trying to see through your flaws, 'cause I know that you got so much more to give.
Alright, so it's time to trim all the little pieces. So basically what I like to do is I just kind of cut one of them.
Say you wanna fix our problems.
I'll cut this one for example.
How long should I be waiting? Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready to give in.
The curve that we have. Okay, so then sandwich these two together, so these two are going to be sewn together. Okay, sandwich them together. And then just kind of like, you'll probably have to set them down so I won't be able to turn. Well, hang on. So, once you, I don't have a big desk anymore. Once you've sandwiched them together like so, make sure the red parts line up like that. And you just want to kind of follow along.
Every time
Like so.
I see a glimpse of your good side,
And then you got nice
start wondering how
crispy edges.
I could make it last a little longer.
Alrighty. Now that you've got those bitches lined up, you are literally just going to straight stitch it down, my guy. You are literally just gonna sew those bitches together, alright? You got this. Let's go.
Drama, but I'm not ready to give in.
And now you should have something like this. If the little swoopy dudes don't really line up, it's totally fine. Like, you physically cannot get them perfect unless you are literally mass producing these things. So don't beat yourself up about that. Trust me, it happens. Alright, so this is a decorative thing that we have to do. You're basically going to cut the top off of the shoe. So how I like to do that is fold it in half like this. Okay. And then what you want to do is you just kind of want to take your scissors, line it up with this seam here. Make sure you're not cutting through anything else. It's hard to do this with the camera. Okay, then you kind of just like, you want to go all the way up to like right here. So then you should have almost like this. And the top part should look something like this. So, I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so this is going to work better if you have a bigger table than what I'm working with. I used to have a bigger table, but I don't have it anymore. So, what you want to do is you want to make the first. I'm going to cut this as close to as soon as you can at the top. And you want to kind of push this a little bit further up. You want to line up the seams like so. And then you're going to take a pin and you're going to pin the top first. Go from corner to corner. Like so. That's going to be your template. So, now you're going to take two other ones. And you're going to line this guy up. Just like that. Do that or not? And there you go. So now you want to sew all the way around.
Cause I know that you got so much more to give. You made a real mess, but I miss you though.
Now that you've gotten all that done, you are going to add your back heel support piece. You want to get that little V as close to the seam as you possibly can. If not, it's totally fine. It literally doesn't matter, but it kind of does, but it also kind of doesn't. So just do what you can do, man.
See us going on and off again. Baby, all I really wanted, only on from now. Every time I see a glimpse of your good side.
Adding in that somewhat pointless little V accent detail, we're gonna go ahead and sew all around it. Try to line it up as best you possibly can to the teardrop shape. See how it's lined up right there? If you can't get it lined up, do not worry, you can always trim it.
See us going on and off again. Baby, all I really wanted,
Okie dokie, here's where stuff gets kind of dumb. So you want to take your seam ripper and you want to rip seams from the middle of your stripes to about 1/8 of the way down to the black, just like that. You want enough room to where you can freely move your white or whatever accent color you're doing, but not enough to where it'll fall out or the entire little trim piece is gonna fall off. You just want enough to move things underneath it, and that's it.
this happy festival.
Okay, now comes the accent piece. I am using 4-way stretch patent vinyl. Alright, I am folding it in half and I'm putting the tip in first. Just shoving it in there. That's what she said. Anyway, I'm just folding it in half, putting it through, laying it down, and then pinning it. I'm going to pin. You literally just want to pin just like this. Alright, guys? You literally just want to do this, alright? That's all I can say.
Don't wanna have to wait tonight. Wait tonight. Better off. I'm gonna find my way tonight. Wait tonight. Won't you talk to me? I wanna heal your sorrow. Talk to me. We'll make a new.
I am cutting this into about a 1/2 inch. You don't want it too big, you don't want it too thin, you want it just enough. It genuinely does not matter if these are perfect or not, because you can manipulate this material to be in a perfect straight line, even if you didn't cut it in a perfect straight line. So do not stress about that. Trust me, it gets on it'll drive you insane.
What makes this happy festival?
Alright, so now what we're doing is we are going to top stitch all of those little stripes down, and a pro tip, if you cannot find a thread that matches your patent vinyl, because you're gonna want something that matches, just get some acrylic paint and paint over the stitching, and then to get it off of the vinyl, all you have to do is get some rubbing alcohol or water and just rub it off with a Q-tip and you are good to go. It will only stain the white thread. So just get some white, bada bing bada boom, you're all good, girl. Here's another angle of me sewing this. I don't know why I added this, but whatever. Anyway, so you want to get this shit as close to the red as you possibly can, because you're going to use that red to kind of launch yourself off. If you've ever sewn 4-way stretch patent vinyl before, you know that it's a trip. If you do not have a walking foot, you can absolutely use a regular foot. You just need baby powder. It's messy, and honestly, it's so much more worth it to just get the walking foot. I promise you. Alright, after you get all of that done, you're going to want to go ahead and re-stitch your little holes that you made. You're essentially just going to follow the existing stitch as close as you possibly can. It is a little bit challenging when it goes over the 7,000 layers of pleather, but it's fine. You got another clip I don't know why I left in, but we're gonna leave this part of the trim unsewn. Just leave it. Moving on to the bottom trim. My god, I'm so sorry. This is, yeah. Anyway, you're gonna take your white ones and you're going to sew them bitches together, just like so. Alrighty, and once you've got your black one sewn, you want to cut the excess as close as you possibly can to your stitch, because it will save you a giant fucking headache. Anyway, you want to pin that black one on top of the white one, and you want to start from one end to the other. You don't want to start in the middle, none of that shit. From one end to the other.
Showing off. Don't wanna have to wait tonight. Wait tonight. Better off. I'm gonna find my way tonight. Wait tonight. Won't you talk to me? I wanna heal your sorrow. Talk to me. We'll make a new tomorrow. Talk to me. One night to find the answer. Talk to me. What makes this heart beat faster?
Alright, Alrighty, now that you got your trim pieces, you want to go to your main color. And for example, the main color for this shoe is white, so we're going to white thread. And you just want to stitch that shit together. We're just using a straight stitch, just top stitch it down, guys. Moving on to the liner, I am using a Sport Dimple Mesh. I will have everything linked in the description below, and I will also make sure that it's known which is my personal preference and which doesn't matter. This, in my opinion, does matter because you are wanting to use the actual dimple part, and that's exactly what they use for the damn shoes. I have with me orange and red. We are cutting the red one, but the orange is that little pile next to my scissors. But yeah, so everything will be linked below.
See us going on and off again. Baby, all I really want is only on from now. Every time I see a glimpse of your good side, I start wondering how I could make it last a little longer. Say you wanna fix our problems. How long should I be waiting? Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready to give in.
Now you're essentially just going to follow the exact same thing that you did when you sewed the two main pleather pieces together, but in liner form. That's literally just exactly what you're doing. You're repeating the entire 2 steps.
Only on from now.
Alright, now that's done, you are going to pin right sides together, your right side seams together. You want to start by lining up the seam and then pinning the rest. If you have to stretch it, you can stretch it. That's why we have a dimple mesh. It's a knit, super simple, whatever. Just go ahead and clip those together. Please don't look at the mess in the background. I was going through it. Don't mind it. Jesus. Alright, now that you've done that, you want to go ahead and just top stitch it down. I move between doing things from the fabric side and then things from the pleather side. It just depends on detail. When there's more detail, I'd much rather sew from the pleather side because the pleather has kept all the details versus the fabric alone. You're done. You should be left with this. You want to leave that teardrop shape open. Do not sew that shut. Trust me. My God. Moving on to the padding, we're going to be using, well, I'm going to be using it's either 1/8 or 1/4 inch batting. I'm literally just trying to use this up because I've had this for years. So yeah, when you are cutting this, it does not matter what it looks like, because I'll explain it later. Anyway, I would recommend using a 1 inch batting. When you get to the bottom part where the shoe part is, I would suggest if you're using a 1 inch to go ahead and peel it in half because otherwise you're just going to get a giant headache.
I'm always trying to see through your flaws, 'cause I know that you got so much more to give. You made a real mess, but I miss you though, 'cause I can go to sleep when I'm alone again. Say you wanna fix our problems. How long should I be waiting?
Alright, so in terms of it not mattering what it looks like, this part honestly does not matter. I'm just using this as a template to get my outer edge nice and similar to our piece. Again, it doesn't really matter. I personally like to have a little bit extra up top on the calf portion of the shoe. There's really no rhyme or reason, it's just whatever you feel comfortable doing.
I don't wanna see us going on and off again. Baby, all I really want is only on from now. Every time I see a glimpse of your good side, I start wondering how I could make it last a little longer. Say you wanna fix our problems. How long should I be waiting? Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready to give.
Alright, even if you're using a 1 inch, I want you guys to have your batting looking just like mine. Just cut it in a giant square, alright? Not a square, a rectangle. So I know shapes. Anyway, you are going to sew this from the pleather side down. Because if not, you are going to want to spontaneously combust. I fucking promise you.
Baby, all I really want is only on from now.
Okay, now we gotta flip it inside out. So basically what you're gonna start with is you're gonna start with the top. You wanna keep these open, obviously. And the easiest way to do it is to separate it like this. Stick your fingers up in between the two fingers like that. Push one side in. Okay, and do the same from the other side. It's gonna be easier to pull up on the fabric side of the shoe. And then this is probably the hardest part about shoes, is doing this and not hurting anything or ripping anything. I just want to get through this little tiny hole. It's like getting through. That was gross, I'm sorry. Just kind of want like... And if you do end up like accidentally doing this, you can go back in and sew it. Okay, so now that you've got the majority of this, corner here, you just want to start going over here along the seam. Push up the front, and you can also move the batting around to the side of it. Same here. These are obviously easier because they're open. Just like that. Now, when I do these guys right here, I only sew the top. So I only sew the batting on here. Because if you sew it up to here, then when you put your eyelets in, you're going to have an issue because the batting is so fucking thick.
Alright, now that you've got everything right side out, looking real good, now we're going to close up that V shape. Whatever thread you have, you want to use first. So if you're using the same color as the majority of your shoe, go ahead and do that part. So for example, I was using white. So I'm going to sew the white part first, then I'm going to switch my thread to black, and I'm going to sew the V shape. Alright, now we're adding another fucking accent. It's not as bad in this redo of the voiceover, but last time I was saying accent like it was nobody's business, like it was literally my job to say accent. Anyway, you're just gonna pin these motherfuckers to that little like ledge part. Basically you're just gonna line it up exactly how I did. It is a pain in the fucking ass when you get to the outer edges. Oh my god. Just truck through it, I promise you'll be fine. I did not make a tutorial on how to do the tongue, so I gotta quickly run through this. You're gonna take your majority color of your tongue, you are going to sandwich it between, or you're gonna sandwich some batting in between the tongue and the liner. Then you're gonna add the trim exactly how I've added it. I don't know how to explain how I did it, so you're just gonna have to look at it, and then figure it out for yourself. I'm so sorry. The one thing that I will say with the tongue trim, there's no overdoing it. You want to add as much as you think, because if you add too little, you are literally going to cry. I promise. So you're going to wrap it around just like this, and you're going to stitch on the stitch that you've made. You're essentially just going to stitch over the crease, if that makes any sense. That way it looks seamless. If you don't get it on your first try, that's okay. It literally took me a million tries before I finally got it correct.
See us going on and off again. Baby, all I really want is only on from now. Every time I see a glimpse of your good side, I start wondering how I could make it last a little longer. Say you wanna fix our problems. How long should I be?
God damn it, this damn fucking ugh. Alright, this is what got me banned, which is funny because none of my clients have ever had any issues, and I didn't even say that I was selling these. I guess Adidas is just salty that I recreated their shit. And did it so well that it looked exactly the same. Anyway, I'm just gonna sew these tags on. You literally don't have to do the exact same thing. You could do a fucking marijuana leaf, who cares? Or you can just leave the tags off. It's really your preference, guys. You do whatever you want. But this is how I sewed them on. This is the best way that I can find to sew on tags on tongues. Tags on tongues. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking child. Onto the straps. These are those D-rings that I think I briefly talked about. My dad made these. He 3D printed them for me. He was so excited when I asked him if he could help make a piece for my shoes. So he spent like 6 hours making this file, and we love my dad. We stand my dad. He's got his moments, but we love my Sasquatch of a father. Alright, now we're going to take this little strap. You want to make these you want to make them longer than you think you need, because you're going to wrap a majority of it around these little D-rings. Just like that. You can always take away, you cannot add. Think about that. That is literally the golden rule of making these stupid shoes. So when it comes to sewing these D-rings, I like to get a little crazy, and I like to do 3 regular top stitches, and then I like to go over those 3 stitches with a zigzag stitch just to make sure. I had one client have her strap kind of come apart, so that scarred me for life, and I decided that I was going to go ham on the rest of the shoes. So this is what it looks like when it's done. Alright, this is the main strap. You want to cut it in half and then sew it back together. You want to basically sew the fabric sides facing each other with the pleather sides facing away from each other. That way when you flip your strap, you don't have one side fabric and one side's not. You just want to do a zigzag stitch and then 2 regular top stitches.
I'm always trying to see through your flaws.
Now you want to sew your Velcro on. I prefer sewing the soft side on the part that is going to be sewn to the side of the shoe, just to prevent any sort of shoelace from fraying and getting stuck in it. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that disaster. And then I like to put the soft fuzzy side on the actual strap part that you wrap around the D-ring.
But I'm not ready to give in. I don't wanna see us going hard enough again. Baby, all I really want is only on from now.
And finally, guys, you want to seam rip a little section so you can put your straps inside that back heel support piece, and you just want to sew them shits right on. You want to sew them at an angle though, just so they can flow easier when they're wrapped around the D-ring and everything. So yeah.
How long should I be waiting? Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready.
Alright, I didn't film the toe part. I'm gonna put a text on the screen of how you're supposed to do the toe part because I don't have enough video to tell you. But this is them on the bases, and now we're just gonna finish it off with a sole. I use the Weldwood contact adhesive and shoe glue to adhere these to the bases, and then you just want to take a little bit of that and tuck your liner, god damn it, your liner inside the shoe, and then you're all good to go, queen. Just like that. That's all you gotta do. And now for the shoelaces, I use 72-inch laces for the top and bottom, and then for the accent piece, I use 27-inch. For the quote-unquote soles, I use a glossy patent vinyl, like a really thick, heavy-duty patent vinyl. I don't have any videos or anything of it, or me doing it. I ran out of time, unfortunately. But yeah, and then for the hole making, I don't use a hole punch. I did, and then my hole punch broke because the stuff is so thick, so I use a soldering iron. Yeah, but this is it. This is them finished. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll make something next.
You made it through a whole video. Wow. A trooper. Anyway, welcome to the end of the video. I will have all of the links to everything, all of my socials down in the description box. The only thing that will be missing for a little bit will be the patterns for everything. I should have those up for sale soon. I just have to get them looking a little bit better before I scan them and send them out to you guys. Also, I have to figure out how to write out instructions. This will be my first time with patterns, so please bear with me on that one. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I should have some more tutorials out soon now that Burnout is kind of over, and also I have iMovie so I can create more for you guys. I'm thinking the next video is either going to be an Ella wig tutorial, Ella goggles, or an Ella jacket. That's my new obsession is Rainbow Six Siege, so yeah. And of course, if you guys have any, I don't want to say requests, but if you guys have any questions on how to make certain things, please leave them in the comments because I may or may not do it. Just depends, especially since I'm taking commissions and you never know. Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next video with a different, better setup and it not being 2 AM. So, goodbye!